have been times where he's tried to pull off amazing, what I like to call solo queue plays, right? Trying to make things happen himself rather than waiting for a better opportunity next. I can do this right now. I'm going to get a couple picks, but sometimes, actually most of the time, it has not happened for him. And we're going to go ahead and get started with Gladiators Legion and XL2 Academy here in the Mecha base. At Gladiators Legion, another person that we should definitely be keeping an eye on is Emil, someone who struggled throughout the regular season, but in the playoffs was pretty great for Gladiators Legion and was a fight-winning ultimate on Rialto that brought them into that finals. XL2 Academy now, look at KSP already taking shots ahead of the Moira in that ult charge. KSP is going to make sure that the geometry of the field is going to be much better for XL2 than it is going to be for Legion, who are just now trying to get onto the objective. They're actually going to take him down right away with the Biotic Orb. They've already got 2 picks versus the 1 of XL2 Academy, so this 5v4 for Legion's going to get them the point and potentially get them the further defense against XL2, who are deciding to engage regardless.
Yeah, XL2 Academy, they're already in it. They have some very mobile DPS here with Evie on his patented Doomfist, one of his most productive heroes. But Legion had the superior positioning. Bar that single headshot, Stand 1 brought to like 10 HP before they could even get to the point. Gladiators Legion played that slow and calculated game, just dodging and jinking those sightlines for XL2 Academy. They own this point now, and it's all about playing keep away.
Coalescence is a great way to keep XL2 Academy away, because that's exactly what you're going to see on your screen. Is Emil going to find 2 more picks for Legion.
Legion now have a really good chance to just defend and hold XL2 Academy at bay. And in fact, we see the DPS swaps coming through. Speedily is going to pick up his own Mei. XL2 Academy choosing to go bunker v bunker. So the Hammond and Diva composition, those dive takes, are very popular in OWL right now. But XL2 Academy, they're not just looking at the fight right in front of them, but the future as well. There's nothing better to clear point than a Blizzard.
Water going to throw down that Blizzard. You're going to see the Mei wall come up a lot of the time before the Blizzard gets thrown to avoid the defense matrix on the other side. And Dalton going to find speedily in the end. So Legion firing on all cylinders right now. Have a 65, have a bunch of ultimates at their disposal, and they're going to have a distinct advantage. Furthermore, going into XL2 Academy's last push. Potential last push. It's already 77% for Legion. A great wall from Water right there. XL2 Academy trying to play patiently because they don't really have any ultimates. Legion strike first, use the Blizzard, and even if they end up hemorrhaging more ultimates, it's totally fine because XL2 Academy have to continue to try and make up for lost time. Coalescence starts things off for Legion's down there in response. So Coalescence going both sides now. It's XL2 Academy using both of their ultimates. That they have to try to challenge them on into the point, but the death losses from Dalton's going to make this a quick 64%. 4 kills now for Legion, and they're about to lock this thing up.
XL2 Academy, they are going to have to look to the next round of Busan as to what strategies to run. They tried to think out of the box, and it was actually Legion who ended up besting them just by sticking to their guns, sticking with what they know works, the Dalton Water Reaper Mei combo. And again, Legion, nothing flashy, just really solid fundamental play. Every single wall got value. That's one of those cooldowns that each team is going to be looking for like a hawk. If you have one misplaced wall, that means essentially a free push for your opponent. You don't have to worry about getting cut off. You can just bum rush the enemy. And Legion, time and time again, managed to hit that cooldown.
Gladiators Legion now feeling good because they distract XL2 Academy on a Mecha base, but this round I think will fall more so on XL2 Academy. They're running the double sniper. They love this. They like controlling the main space. They're actually going to run a double sniper on the other side as well with the Legion. So this is that sniper versus sniper matchup that we were talking about in the pregame. KSP versus Dalton is going to be very important, but you can't discount the Hanzos on both sides either.
Yeah, you also have to remember about that Roadhog. Legion's going to have extra point presence with Emil on the Roadhog, so they're probably going to be looking to pressure the objective right away. XL2 Academy is still searching for that crossfire, looking for those sight lines, as speedily already nearly 30% up to the Dragons, but ultimates are not the end-all be-all in this kind of meta. It's all about that individual mechanical skill, and right now it's still a stalemate.
Yeah, Water actually keeping KSP in check. They're going to have to deal with Water and that Hanzo if they want to try to aggress upon the point anymore. They've already lost the mech. They've lost speedily. And look at this, 21% on the board for KSP. That means he's not really hitting any shots. Definitely not any headshots. Gladiators Legion, on the other hand, hitting everything.
Yeah, Emil's going to take a well-deserved rest on the point, having taken that for his team. This is one of the strategies that you can also run. Even if you're not going to find that head-to-head duel, you can at least keep that Widowmaker and Hanzo moving constantly while the tanks maintain the point and clean up any of the squishies left there. XL2 Academy now need their snipers to pop off and make a bit of room because the Bloods on the Diva, they're not going to have quite as much.
Gladiators Legion doing an amazing job just keeping everyone from XL2 Academy in check. They're making sure that XL2 Academy are always in danger, but a quick pick from Speedily is going to be the only thing that's going to be good news for XL2 Academy furthermore, as Gladiators Legion are at 40% on the objective.
XL2, though, do have some tools. OG now will have Valkyrie. There's Nano available as well, and that could be the oomph that XL2 need to just muscle their way onto the objective and start racking up some point percentage. It's a lot easier to defend with double sniper than it is to push.
Water catching up to Speedily as well, almost to that 50%. He just used that Dragon Strike where XL2 Academy are coming up on their first ultimates of the round. Gladiators Legion now using that supercharger, and KSP is going to fall once more. We talked about the snipers for XL2 the whole time. We've been talking about the snipers from Legion because they're the ones in control right now as the Dragon Strike from Speedily comes down. Even though KSP was already gone, it might have been a way to just give them some space to retreat, but Gladiators Legion aren't going to give them that space. They're going to get even more kills, and Water ends up matching Speedily with that Dragon Strike, catching up, almost lapping him. He's going to fall, though. This is the first opening that XL2 Academy has had since the round has started.
Yeah, there is a chance for XL2 to try and push in. KSP, though, is cut off from the rest of his team. He has to stay alive for the time being, or else XL2's chances of even starting overtime are going to be gone.
They're going to see where exactly Gladiators Legion is. Huge headshot down from KSP. You don't want him to warm up. You kept him in check this whole game. Now is not the time to give him those heads, and that's exactly what he's going to do. 2 headshots now for KSP, and no one is on the point as Gladiators Legion take XL2 on Busan pretty handily there. If someone was on the point, KSP was starting to heat up there. Things were about to get interesting, but if you really think about it, at 99%, Legion would have only needed to win one more fight anyway. They were in control. That round is pretty much in their hands anyway. And XL2 Academy, no one really showing up so far here on Control.
No, it's been a very quiet map so far for XL2 Academy, and you're right, Boop. Gladiators Legion, especially since they were running a hog, has so much more pushing power than XL2 Academy. We would have had to play a nigh perfect round in order to hold them off and bring us into a round 3. Speedily, on this Doomfist has a lot of potential, but XL2 Academy decided to just all in with that Mei Reaper strat, despite the inherent difficulties of trying to push in with that same composition when your opponents are already set up. Legion had won such a dominant fight before that XL2 Academy had to burn through Death Blossom, had to burn through Blizzard before they could even think about evening up that ultimate economy. So on the hanger round, it was just the fact that XL2 had an insurmountable disadvantage early on. But Sanctuary, this is when things start to get very interesting. As you can see here, Water kind of just living on the flank right now. Of course, he's hitting all of his shots, but just the fact that he's standing his ground, going for that head-to-head means that both Speedily and KSP couldn't focus on finding picks on the Legion backline. I really like this kind of decision-making from Legion. Hey, we're going to pressure the point. Obviously, anytime the tanks move forward, that does mean that the backline is going to be a bit more vulnerable, but we believe in our team. We're just going to go for it, because if you can set up shop on the objective, it's such a major advantage, as we see Dalton in that earlier highlight show, that if you have the off angle, if you have the jump on your enemy sniper, then that's basically 90% of the game won.
Yeah, just to summarize, Legion kept XL2 Academy in check throughout all of Busan. XL2 Academy had to work way harder for every pick that they were able to receive than Legion had to. And I think a big part of that was the fact that Water was having one of arguably his cleanest games of the season so far, knowing exactly where to be and it being the right place to be at the right time has been a little bit of an issue for Water in the past, but today he is firing on all cylinders. He's playing clean. He single-handedly kept KSP in check for 70% of that Busan round. And yeah, you could get on XL2 a little bit, not pushing Water back, but they couldn't. There was no way. They were always down a member because one of the snipers always found a pick on the other side, and we're usually talking about XL2 when when we're talking about snipers like that, but Gladiators Legion reversing the roles there and making sure that we're talking about them as well. Volskaya Industries might pose a certain kind of challenge, though, for both of these teams, as I believe Assault has been in the past a little challenging for both of them, especially here on Volskaya, where teams have recently been having a very hard time just approaching point B, with Hanzo's being very, very popular for the defense.
Yep, and Hanzo's seem like they were just made for Volskaya B. There's that perfect little perch right there in the cubby corner where you can shoot basically into the attacking spawn from point B, and that's one of the ways that many of the teams and contenders have just won the thing outright. You get a staggered pick, boom, the push is over, and then you get to reset. So Volskaya is going to be very much a game of who has that hot hand with the sniper. Another hero that we are probably going to see is Roadhog. Bud's Roadhog was a big reason why XL2 had a pretty good time of it defending in their own playoff run, and a Roadhog standing his ground on the second point, is so difficult to take down. The spawns are so close, and he's incredibly tanky with a ton of self-sustain, so it takes an incredible amount of focus fire and target prioritization to burn that pig down. He can kind of become just one of the pillars, one of the foundations of that defense.
And so now that we're traveling to Volskaya Industries, Legion definitely have the momentum on their side. They've been playing like a better team so far against XL2. XL2 need to solve some of their issues, and basically they're getting out mechanics. I think if you take ultimates out of the equation, Legion still win Busan based off of their raw skill of what they showed throughout both of those rounds. Water really starting to pop off there. His Hanzo was pretty dreamy, just like that skin. And so Volskaya Industries now is going to start here in just a second. What kind of things might we see differently between these two teams on this map?
So something that XL2 has always had in their back pocket is their Hackfist composition. Speedily loves to play the Doomfist. He was one of the first adopters while the GOATS meta was still at its peak. And while it could be argued that XL2 has, both risen and died off the back of their Doomfist comp, when the Hackfist is working, it feels nigh unstoppable. The comboing power of a Doomfist is just so strong, and he reacts so quickly that it's very hard for those snipers, if you are running them, to get a good duel going, especially when he closes the distance so quickly.
All right, I'm sure going to get into this map here soon, and when we do, let's see if that Doomfist will pop up. They seem to only really run that Doomfist on Mecha Base of all of the maps, and we usually see the Doomfist on Control. Maybe, though, we'll see it here at the end of last season. Last season feels like years at this point. At the end of last season, he was on the Doomfist, and it wasn't that good. So on Volskaya, especially.
Specifically.
Yeah, so let's see if he's going to be able to change his fortunes that way, just like XL2 need to change their fortunes in general here on Assault. Based off of what we saw, Legion, once again, momentum's on their side. They're probably the favorites to win this map at this point because, again, when you talk about mechanical skill and that taking you over the edge, you didn't even need the ultimates. One team is performing way better than the other. And right now that's Legion, which I think some people might be a little surprised about because this team was the mark of inconsistency during the season. Because remember, even though they're going to South Korea, they've made the Gauntlet, they almost didn't make the playoffs. They almost didn't even get a chance to. It was one map. It was a Havana map at the last game, last week of the season that ended up bringing them into the playoffs. And that was all that they needed. And this is something that Legion has done in the past too. Last season, it was because Bishu came in and was pretty much a ringer through all contenders. He was eating fools throughout all of his play in the playoffs, and they almost were able to take the victory then. Unfortunately, they didn't make the showdown because they had to play a lot of games in one day, and there was some fatigue that definitely set in for them. But this time around, none of that is an issue. They've got the weekend to break. They're playing today. They might not have a Bishu. This time it's going to be Emil, who I think needs to level up a little bit if he wants to be like Bishu, but he sure is on his way. His playoff performance was probably one of the most improved performances based off of what we've seen in the regular season versus going into playoffs.
We can't sugarcoat it. It was a struggle buggy for Gladiators Legion trying to slot Emil into their team. And it's not really a fault of the team or the player who were preparing for a GOATS meta that ended up kind of going the way of the dodo, right? So it's even more impressive that they've been able to make such a turnaround with 2-2-2 role lock. Emil has both been playing that diva and picking up the hog on occasions, and both seem to be, equally serviceable. What I'm most curious about is where we're going to see Hog and how effective it's going to be. As we've seen in Owl, the meta seems to be shifting away from the Orisa Roadhog all day, every map, every fight. D.Va has kind of come back into the fold despite all the predictions that she would be nerfed into the ground. Her Matrix is still, bar none, one of the best abilities in the game, and Mays have gotten so good at blocking the halt hook combo that sometimes you don't really find value from your Roadhog even if he's landing all of those hooks. So it's kind of one of those things. Remember back in the day when it was like grab bomb combo every single fight, but then D.Va's got so good at eating grabs that Zarya's had to be even more careful, super sneaky with all of those grabs. It's kind of what we're seeing happen with the halt hook combo in Owl right now.
It's funny that you say back in the day because it was like a month and a half ago,
I know,
right? Or
like
a little bit longer
ago.
than that. It was like
Well,
3 to 4 months ago, where really the dance of goats was starting to really take over. Where you saw the grab and then the trance and the self destruct for the bigger bang and then the sound barrier to counter that. Yeah, exactly. And that dance is starting to actually take shape once more with the comps that we're seeing specifically with Reaper May. But here in North America and around the world, we've actually been seeing a ton more Hanzo. This is not the patch where Hanzo has one less Stormbow, so he still has his full 6 in his quiver. So he's going to be feeling pretty good. But now that we've talked about, I think most that we could talk about as we're seeing the beautiful Volskaya for
once again.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 time, 7 times. I can't take this tour enough, Boop.
What is your favorite part of Volskaya? Do you have a favorite part of Volskaya?
My favorite part of Volskaya is we're actually coming up on it. So there's that high ground on the left side. We're passing it now. There's actually a tiny corner there where in Owl Season 1, Raucus on Zenyatta was like popping off like a nutcracker, and then he just slips between the 2 ledges and falls into the water and kills himself. That's my favorite part.
One of my favorite parts of Volskaya is when a Symmetric teleporter gets put on the left side, so you could go across the water to go to the objective, and then it's not far enough in, so everyone just falls in the water. We've all done that. I'm pretty sure that's always been pretty funny. And one of these days, I've always been intrigued if the devs would ever put like a really big like mech that we see in these, because I've always considered, so there's a really cool character in Heroes of the Storm called Abathur that doesn't leave, he can leave base, but he doesn't really go and lane anywhere. He kind of holds back and helps other people. I've always wondered if there's going to be a character in this game that's ever just like in spawn and affecting the field in general. I think that could be really cool.
Environment.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe he's in the air or something. Or maybe this is why I'm not a game designer. That's a terrible idea. But now that
Please send your tweets to @Boopasaurus Rex. All suggestions, comments, criticisms, and critiques.
You are terrible. Yes. And so now that we're on the subject, what would you like to see?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know. I would like to see Reinhardt dash reset. A lot of people are saying this whole steadfast buff minus, 30% less knockback effect is already, pushing him into the upper echelon so you can compete with Orisa. I say, why not go a little further? Why not give him that dash reset? And while we're at it, he gets the ability to throw a turret too, because he has a hammer. Torb has a hammer.
I've always said let Torb Earth Shatter.
Yeah. Torb should Earth Shatter, and Reinhardt should be able to build turrets. Don't box him in, okay? You can follow your dreams. You can be anything you want to be. Stay in school, kids. Yeah,
Gladiators Legion and XL2 Academy are starting off here. It's beautifully actually hovered over that Doomfist, so you're definitely going to be feeling pretty excited about that. HamTornado, and just so everyone knows, we are aware that there have been server issues in Overwatch throughout today, so I'm assuming that might have been a big reason why this was a little bit delayed going into this game. So now that we're here, we've got Gladiators Legion and XL2 full 6v6. Haku's going to be on the Zenyatta this time, while looking on the other side, Rolf is going to be on the Ana. The Haku-Rolf matchup is also something that's very intriguing.
Oh, and a big opening anti-nade. Okay, all right. Rolf just padding that, ultimate percentage just a little bit. Baptiste on both sides as well, so another cooldown to watch out for amongst the million others that will be affecting this new GOAT comp is that Immortality Field. It's basically a mini defensive ult that you can just throw down and save your team from almost anything. So that usage, if we see one popped early, that's going to be the go signal for the opponents.
They have to get rid of it, or just pull someone in and take them down. And so XL2 Academy already losing Haku, bless you, as Gladiators Legion are already winning this defense. They're going to cause a reset from XL2. They can't do anything with their Zenyatta.
A great hook from Emil here. Immortality Field wasn't there fast enough to save them, but even so, you can always yoink them out of it. But it's going on a bit of a flank here. Does manage to find Baptiste, so Legion now have to go on this big rotation. You can't just face tank this point.
Water's continuing to zone out members of XL2 Academy, this time going on the flank and making sure that XL2 Academy had to reposition, and he's hunting for a Widowmaker as well. He's going to use the wall for himself. Yes, he will. KSP is going to have to fall right now. He's going to get punched. He's going to get taken down. XL2 Academy already losing. KSP means that Gladiators Legion will continue holding the advantage on the defense.
Even though XL2 Academy and Gladiators Legion are both not running a diva, Legion have been using those halls very well to pull XL2 Academy off the high ground. You can't have this for free. It's not been the cleanest defense in the world, but it has been stalwart.
Oh, not much longer. HamTornado's XL2 Academy have found themselves some picks in water. For the first time, all map has been taken down. The Gladiators Legion will get revenge for their Hydra homie as they get 2 more picks going on to XL2. You guys can tell I just found that subreddit. It's a good one. Gladiators Legion now with 2 ultimates. XL2 Academy will be coming up on 4. This Blizzard could be a big deal for Legion.
Massive deal, especially once XL2 Academy actually set up camp on the point. Dalton will also be dancing around with this Tracer so close to that pulse bomb, so Haku and OG need to watch their backs. XL2 Academy, they have the tools, and that's going to be one of them.
That's one of those tools for sure. 65 now for XL2. The guys at the top that they're running means that they're going to need KSP or Speedily to get another pick before they can conceivably approach the point and try to take it. The Immortality Field has been used for Gladiators Legion. That's going to go down pretty soon. That's going to give XL2 Academy a 20-second window where all kills will be able to go through. But right now, XL2 Academy having to continue their slow play because their snipers were unable to find anybody. But this is how you do it, folks. XL2 Academy do find the kills that they need. With 1 minute and 15 seconds left, they will be taking point A.
Just halt into everything, pop all the ultimates, and sometimes if you can't win with finesse, you can still win with numbers. And XL2 Academy finally going to be able to capture this point A. Still a minute on the clock. This is the new patch, so you get less time after you finish point A to assault point B. No ultimates to speak of, but still plenty in the time bank for XL2. Stand 1 got hooked, and that was the beginning of the end for that defense for Gladiators Legion. Orisas are a very quiet main tank, but such an integral part of this defense that managing your fortify is one of the top priorities for these main tank players now.
And just as a reminder, the assault changes are in for this patch. Really nice haul kick is going to take down that Orisa, who's going to fly with that ragdoll. Gladiators Legion now only 5 members remaining. XL2 Academy don't really have a ton to approach with, though. They're going to try. This is a great opportunity for XL2 to get some progress and some ultimates. Gladiators Legion fighting some time right now. Water going to block himself off. He's going to have to get in there and cause some damage. They're going to do a little bit of window shopping first, as they're going to use the amp, the pacing matrix, and take down XL2. So all the while, even though XL2 probably expected to lose that fight, they were able to get to some ultimates, and now they're pretty even with Legion.
As they've evened up that ultimate economy, what a damage boost. You got the supercharger and the amplification matrix, making Emil's whole hog that much more deadly. A big investment for Legion, but at this point, it's a little bit of that safe, rather safer than sorry. We all know from our own experience in our casual games that these kinds of defenses can flip on a dime. Legion also with an early Immortality Field.
Oh, that's a great pick, though, for XL2. Really nice hook. And that means no Immortality Field for Gladiators Legion. Water also goes down with the Blizzard. That has always been a curse for Gladiators Legion. Water dies with his ultimate. The other team seems to be able to take as much space as they need, but Emil is going to get a pick before he falls, and the defense is going to feel much better about trades. And right now, XL2 is going to use that whole hog, try to create a little bit more space. The Blizzard does come out from Water. Dalton gets a pick, and Gladiators Legion look primed to get this defense down.
Again, by the skin of their teeth, though, that Blizzard goes out. Water hasn't found a ton of value from these Blizzards so far, but Dalton's able to take that opportunity and snipe out Haku, who is one of the most vulnerable members on the XL2 squad. But Legion, again, now find themselves with no ultimates at all. They're trying to exploit this high ground, much as many teams have done in the past, but XL2 Academy playing really disciplined. They have this shield at all times. We haven't seen them fall prey to that same tactic of getting staggered out as many other teams have in the past. Now we also have an amplification matrix in addition to that Dragon Strike online for XL2 Academy, and Gladiators Legion, outside of just scrambling away as fast as they can, they don't really have a response.
you're seeing a really good example of why the Mei wall is very important in this meta. If your team gets halted, it's a great way to defend against the hook, but that means that you're not going to have that cooldown to try to block off members on terms of flank and rotation. And now Gladiators Legion is going to use the Supercharger Dragon Strike as well as XL2 Academy and Gladiators Legion both getting one Dragon Strike kill. The Immortality field for XL2 has been depleted, and actually they're going to lose their support. XL2 Academy now, 5 members, Gladiators Legion, 5 members. Emil's going to fall, speedily going to use that Blizzard. This is a great opportunity for XL2 Academy. Might well be one of their last ones as there's only 45 seconds remaining. Is Jay going to spend a little bit too much time in front of his shield, take a ton of damage, but now he's just going to feed the support ultimate now to the rest of his team as 2 more picks now come from XL2 Academy, and would look like possible defense for Gladiators Legion is turning into a possible capture for XL2 Academy as they're just going to team play this out. The ultimates now for XL2 Academy finding their value for them, and with 20 seconds remaining and only 4% left to capture this point, they are primed to try to take it, but the sponsor now are coming back for Legion very soon. How well can they stall?
Yeah, that's the question. Oh, not going to be much longer. KSP 10-player kill streak, not bad at all. XL2 Academy popped that Transcendence from Haku just to make sure that they had enough sustain, so there was an opportunity for Water to come back on if he could survive for 10 more seconds and throw that Blizzard out, but Legion were just hemorrhaging too many members too quickly. There were a lot of moments where you could see that XL2 Academy were kind of just playing the environment, right? One of the big things anytime the cooldown game comes into play, wherein you're counting your cooldowns, trying to bait cooldowns out of your opponents, is you can use the environment to your advantage. Corners, walls, hallways are all things that you should be looking for as ways to block damage for free while you wait for your take a breather, while you wait for your Orisa shield to come back up. And XL2 Academy, you can see they would push up a couple of meters, Legion would, pop an ultimate, and XL2 Academy would back off, but they never truly went for that hard reset. They were ready once those cooldowns came back up to pressure Legion, who had already expended their entire ability bank just to win that single defense. So XL2 Academy, kind of just playing the field a little bit more cleanly.
12 seconds the time bank for XL2 Academy. Gladiators Legion now know what they have to do to beat that. And Emil has been having himself quite a game. And in the end there, they defended very well on Volskaya. 12 seconds is no time at all for a team to try to approach once more. So you got to give them credit. The last fight that they lost ended up being the most important one, as they did give up that second point, but Legion should feel pretty good about that defense moving on to their offensive side. Stand 1 right now is going to be on that Wrecking Ball, a character that we haven't seen in a very long time. We might just see if he's going to use it to scout or if he's going to try to approach the point quickly, because the adjustment that XL2 Academy will have to make might not be quick enough before Legion will be able to sandwich them in. But no, all that theory crafting will be for naught, as Stand 1 going to go ahead and move back over to the Orisa.
If in order to make a sandwich, unfortunately, you need 2 pieces of bread, or Stand 1 would find himself on the objective alone out in no man's land. XL2 Academy just stand in their ground here, happy to take this time off the clock as the Legion try and figure out what way they really want to go. Ooh, Stand 1 taken incredibly low. The shield's already shredded as well. Everything else is even here except the fact that KSP is on the Widow, whereas Dalton is on the Hanzo. So he has a better shot at those 1v1 duels, but may not work as well at range. But of course, he's wrong.
It's a 5v5 right now, and that Legion are on the attacking side. They're going to have all 6 members before XL2 Academy, well as the important cooldown is also going to be taken down from XL2 Academy. Immortality field will be no more, but they already have Amplification Matrix. Letty already used his. So it's going to be time for XL2 Academy to do a little bit of window shopping themselves. They're going to go ahead and throw it down. Now's a really great time to push a little bit of damage into the Mei wall. The Hulk Hook's not going to hit anything. The Hulk going the other way is going to get blocked by the wall as well. And the Immortality field is also going to stay. They're going to use the Dragon Strike to push them away from the Immortality field. It's going to isolate the Batiste in the back line. 2 stuns as well going on to XL2 Academy, as Gladiators Legion playing that very cleanly so far. Now it's that trench warfare. It's not about just approaching the point all at once like we used to see it at Goat. Take the space when you can. Another pick comes in from a Legion. Again, they are on the attacking side, so their spawns are going to be way more friendly as the Transcendence comes through for XL2 Academy. They're trying to bring this back.
Trying to bring this back. They do have the Transcendence, but everybody's frozen in place. And Gladiators Legion are going to take point A much more quickly than XL2. KSP was forced to come back on that Tracer, which I think is probably a big reason why they ended up struggling in terms of that positioning. And Legion kind of, just like you said, Boop, set up trench warfare to advance a couple of meters, plant your heels in, advance another couple of meters, plant your heels in. Whew, that is a nice pick. Probably not going to be enough to continue to snowball things for Legion, but it's definitely going to make XL2 Academy think twice.
Halt over the shield, blocked by the wall. Dragon Strike now gonna get halted. The Immortality Field's gonna keep everyone alive, but a nice hook from Emil's gonna take down the Roadhog on the other side. Gladiators Legion are gonna lose their Immortality Field very shortly here, but Rolf has the Transcendence as backup. Haku, though, gets a nice pick on to Dalton, who has been deacon heads on their team. But with this, they're actually gonna be able to take the point. Gladiators Legion finishing with way more time in the time bank than XL2 Academy. And at this point, I want to apologize for doubting Legion at all during the last week coming into this game because, you know, there's not as much tape on them playing this well. It's just been in 2-2-2 rollblock so far. But for the time being, outside of their game against Atlanta, and again, it was against Atlanta, one of the best teams I think we've seen in Contenders over the last 3 seasons at least. Gladiators Legion really showing up against XL2 Academy. XL2 Academy just, again, not really getting anything happen. KSP having one of his worst games of the season.
Pretty slow going for XL2 Academy and Legion. I've always said about this team, sometimes it felt like they just lacked a little bit of identity. And now that Water and Dalton have broken free of brick jail, I'm free! And we really see the potential in these players unleashed. Even Water, who has had a bit slower of a playoffs than Dalton, has been contributing in a major way to the Legion effort. And that 5-minute to 1-minute time bank kind of just goes to show that XL2 Academy not expecting this kind of tempo from Legion.
5 minutes versus the 1 minute of XL2 Academy. XL2 Academy are required to capture this first point if they want to give themselves any opportunity of winning this map. As Gladiators Legion can be expected, as they're going to get more time on the clock than they would have originally gotten in their first push. As XL2 Academy now, KSP is going to have to make something happen. It's been a while before we've seen this Widowmaker really pop off. The hall goes up, so does the wall. Something we'll see over and over again because this is all about that macro play. KSP, though, finds Dalton on the other side. There are no mercies, so that is going to be a confirmed kill for XL2 Academy as they're going to flank around to the left side.
That is a major pick. That means that XL2 can push forward without fear of long distance damage. Dalton's going to swap onto the Hanzo here, but it's still possible for Legion to hold. XL2 have yet to really make solid progress. Wall is gone as well now, so all halt hooks will land for a short duration.
Kid gets another pick. This is XL2 Academy's fight to lose at this point, unless there's a big purple grenade coming from Gladiators Legion. It definitely made it interesting, but XL2 will be capturing this first point off of just one headshot from KSP to start things off, and a follow-up kill from Gig finished off.
Sometimes that really is all you need. With Widowmakers, one shot can be all it takes, and XL2 Academy proving that theory right now. Gladiators Legion are going to look to that point B defense. This is where they struggled the most against XL2 Academy. They now have to not be unprepared for the potential speed with which XL2 Academy can take this. They have Amplification Matrix ready. They're about to come into that whole hog, which even if it doesn't find kills, will simply blow all of Legion off the point.
KSP almost finds the Hanzo. Dalton survives, and that's so very important because if KSP is able to get a headshot, it really opens things up for XL2 Academy. The Amplification Matrix not going to help to find any picks. The hook actually lands, but the wall is going to block it as XL2 Academy do find Stand 1 on the other side, but a return pick onto KSP means the defense is going to have a little bit of a stronger position as time goes on, but not for long. If 2 more come in from XL2 Academy, is going to get frigid here. Both Lessard go down. Everyone's cold, everyone's frozen, but XL2 Academy had enough members to continue going on as Bud's whole hog, I believe, gets canceled because of that sleep, but it doesn't seem to matter as XL2 Academy will be capturing both points here in overtime. 1 minute is all that they needed. Now Gladiators Legion have 5 to match that, and friends at home, this is a 1st to 4, so this is the same as the finals day last week. The first team to 4 games will find themselves the higher seed going into the Gauntlet.
Such a good wall from Speedily. These Mays have really elevated their game. Gone are the days where you kind of just press mouse 1 and freeze people and be really annoying and scream voice lines. It's all about that nuance and technique. Legion pop amplification matrix. On paper seems like not a very flashy ult, but that extra boost to damage and healing is significant when you're going up against a team that's running just that vanilla composition. Speedily comes in, walls off not only the amplification matrix, but cuts stand 1's line of escape away from him. He's hopping sideways as that Aris almost reaches his team when he's cut down, and that was the beginning of the end. While main tanks are a little bit more quiet these days compared to goats with the Orisa, they're still so crucial to staying alive, the only real static shielding that the squishy backline gets to enjoy. So XL2 Academy, with one swift stroke, with one ability, nullifying 2 of those from Legion. Can't ask for better value.
Exactly, HamTornado. Gladiators Legion will most likely not be running this Wrecking Ball, as we got you baited last time around. It's a good way to scout if you want it. You could also use Sombra for the same reason, just to be a little bit more safer. At stand 1 is going to go ahead and switch it over to the Orisa. So we're going to see more of the same from both of these teams. KSP and Dalton are going to defer, though, on which snipers they're going to try to play.
High ground is the name of the game. Once XL2 got it on their attack, it was all over for Legion, so they're going to be looking to do the same. Wall up here, not just for protection, but could also obfuscate their movement, potentially put them on a sneaky flank. Ooh, that was a close one. Immortality field gone for both teams, as well as Legion now, who are picking up the kills.
Emil escapes with his life. Taking a breather is going to help him get to that whole hog as well, as he's going to find the Orisa, as Gladiators Legion have already opened up this first point. This is bad news for XL2 Academy, as they didn't finish with any time on the clock, as they only had 1 minute. So if Gladiators Legion are able to finish this off, they will have the sole opportunity to attack again, with over 4 minutes remaining and already a distinct advantage on this first point, and a potential snowball going into the second with a Supercharger and Dragon Strike at the ready. Gladiators Legion should be feeling very confident about that first push.
And outside of those ultimates, you also just have the raw mechanical skill of Dalton, who ended up kind of just deathballing with the rest of his team. KSP was on that flank on the high ground looking for those shots, but sometimes you live by the Widowmaker, you die by the Widowmaker. He wasn't able to find any picks, and that was that for Legion.
Gets that first pick, 6v5 now for XL2 Academy, and Legion have time to work with. You don't need to push it now.
Exactly. KSP going to be looking for some of that same magic that he found during playoffs. Find an early pick here before Legion have their full numbers. There is a Dragon Strike ready for Legion, as well as that Amp Matrix. Transcend is very close as well. Wolf is going to have that sooner than Haku, so even if the Blizzard comes out from XL2 Academy, Legion will be able to sustain this long fight.
Gladiators Legion, though, coming up on a 6 ultimates for this next push. Basically, if Legion don't win on this next push, it's going to be a while before they get the opportunity, and picks like that are a great way to overcome an ultimate disadvantage if you're XL2 Academy. They use the amplification matrix. They also have the Supercharger and Blizzard at the ready, as Gladiators Legion will only have 5 ultimates coming in at next, as XL2 Academy, with that 1 pick, will even out that ultimate economy.
Oh, but that hook gonna make things interesting, but it's traded back. Legion now have been banking up ultimates for half this game. They have 5 to their name, and Water's actually going to try and tempo this out.
Yeah, this is what we talked about with Water before. You're just going to yeet these ultimates into the backliner just at all, and most of the time, it doesn't work out, but this time, I am proven wrong, as I don't think XL2 Academy were prepared for that Blizzard in any way, shape, or form. Water doesn't respect the dance like some other members of other Contenders teams do, and because of that, it's a give or take, right? You either are going to be out of step, and you're going to be the one taking out, or you're able to get XL2 out of step and take them out, but XL2 solidifying their defense right now, and the Blizzard was just a highlight for Water. It wasn't the final fight that Gladiators Legion were looking for, as they're down to 2 minutes and 19 seconds.
Still a couple of good pushes available and a couple of great ultimates for Legion, though. Water has taken many a very risky ultimate usage in the past. Genji Blade and dying immediately after the Nano Blade wears off is definitely one of those highlights. But this time, it seemed that the Legion squad were ready to back him up. And if nothing else, it drew the Transcendence out from XL2. They were forced to use a ton of their ultimates in reserve just to try and weather that attack. But another staggered pick means Legion have to go back to the drawing board.
The halt hook is enough this time around, and that goes to show that you're going to need the Mei wall. If you don't have that cooldown, you're going to get halt hooked, and that person will most likely perish.
H&H not just a tool company in Fallout here, but a great combo for Overwatch. XL2 Academy going to be feeling more and more confident here. Legion have had chance after chance to put together a coherent attack, but the various members of the team just don't seem to be 100% together. Every time they take one step forward, somebody dies.
The halt is there, but this time the wall is as well. The Dragon Strike's going to force the Immortality field out of the Batiste, and it's going to be enough to keep them alive. Bud's also going to land a hook, but the Cryo's going to be available. He's going to get hooked himself. Remember, the hog that hooked second will most likely come out on top. I read that in a fortune cookie once. Blizzard comes out now for Gladiators Legion. They're going to put everything into one basket here, and they also have even more ultimate Qs. They've got a Transcendence and a Whole Hog to push XL2 Academy away. There should be a point take if they're able to clean this up. The second tick has been taken. Will XL2 Academy be able to put a foot onto the point? The answer is no, as Gladiators Legion also complete the map. A much slower time as XL2 Academy. Got to give XL2 some props on that defense. It's 4-4, Gladiators Legion with time in the bank, but because they ended with less than a minute, there's going to be a minute given to XL2 as well. This could conceivably be one of our favorite things, a 6 versus 7 point score for Assault, but let's see if that's going to be the reality that we see as XL2 Academy will be attacking first once again with 43 seconds less than Gladiators Legion.
Bud's on the Roadhog finding out Waters' May flank right there could have been so bad for Legion. Water dies, that's the end. You cannot push point B with less than 6 members because the defensive spawns are just that strong. But what turned out to be a great opportunity for XL2 Academy came back to bite them. Legion rushed to the defense of their Hydro homie, and Buds gets immediately burst down, and that's kind of one of the inherent risks of running anybody as a flanker. We see this all the time, not just in Contenders, but in Owl as well. There's high risk, high reward cost for running that kind of flank. You get that one shot, you're a god, but you could easily, in the same breath, lose it all for your team.
And just before the game starts, I want to give props to Water as well. We've been calling him a Hydro Hobie, and that's the reason why, too, is because recently he donated a lot of his stream money to places that are struggling with water shortages as well. So overall, just a good guy. He wrote love notes to his fans last week as well. So super wholesome, really good guy. And whenever you give to charity like that, when you don't have to, is really telling you how good of a person Water can be. It's good to see him here in Contenders. And look at his ult charge just jump up. He's beating his Ana right now. So that means that right click is starting to land right now. And that's something about May that a lot of people don't talk about. That right click, 2 headshots, that's a squishy that's down. 1 headshot in the body shot, that's a squishy that's down. It's very, very strong. People are just now starting to talk about, hey, maybe we got to look at that right click, but really it's that Blizzard, it's that endothermic blaster that can really cause a ton of disruption to the opposing team. As XL2 going to get disrupted back to spawn. 3 picks for Gladiators Legion. XL2 Academy even have some time to come back with KSV getting a nice pick. It might be good for them as they're now switching over to that Wrecking Ball to make sure they get there, but Emil on the Wrecking Ball himself will take down KSV. He's not going to be available for an overtime push.
What would you rather have, KSP's Widowmaker or Rolf's Ana? Bud's now on the flank, and this is where we're talking about Rolf's high opportunity cost. He manages to find that one Widowmaker, and in a single death stroke, he might have won this for XL2 Academy.
The Blizzard not really doing anything from Water as well as XL2 Academy are going to be able to withstand Gladiators Legion defense at least for a little while longer. Is Gig going to take down the Batiste in the end? XL2 Academy has suffered some casualties. Gig needs to get out of there, make it back to his support, and he is going to start getting healed. It's a good opportunity for XL2 Academy to keep some casualties for Gladiators Legion. The Nano, though, is not going to matter. He's going to get booped into the ocean. It's going to be a frigid swim in there, Stance 1, but at least he's going to get to go back to spawn. 5 points for XL2 Academy now. What a back and forth fight, but Buds is the hero.
Bud's definitely the hero. They're opened things up when XL2 Academy have been struggling on their attack approaches. 5 points now in 14 seconds to see what they can get done on point B. They have a ton of potential speedily on one of his favorite heroes, ready with this Doofus. But in that same breath, if he misses those combos, he's about to get frozen and deleted.
Overtime has commenced. He makes contact with the Rocket Punch, but the Cryo is going to keep the May in line. But no, he's going to get Rocket Punched again, but he's going to focus too hard on Water, and Dalton's going to take him down. 2 picks now for XL2 Academy. It's a 5v4 for them. Defensive response will be affected by overtime at this point in time. So will the offense. The defense will have an opportunity. Great. Even though it's a body shot, really good tracking from KSP. Another headshot onto the defect Emil, and this is looking like at least a couple of takes for XL2 Academy. Water now switching over to the Doofus, gets slept after getting that pick. gives them a little bit of hope, though. Any pick for the defense is no good for them. You want those, but KSP all of a sudden is taking all game. He is starting to find those heads, friends, as XL2 Academy are pushing for 6 points.
Pushing for 6 points each, and they've expended their nano. They used everything that they have at their disposal. It's not going to be enough. XL2 Academy. Oh, with their
Where were you,
dagger.
KSP, all game? But you came back when it mattered.
He needed the Doomfist. That actually might be the case here. Honestly, everybody was so tunneled in on Speedily.
Yep.
He has so much potential to just destroy, delete a backline that Gladiators are like, okay, we gotta get rid of him. We're gonna send the Reaper after him. And what happens? KSP is basically shooting for free. I just love all of these, like, you know, really close, like, body shots, KSP, like, flicking amazingly, and then you just have this diva saunter onto the point. He just cuts her head off. You do not simply walk onto the point.
Speedily also had a very good meteor strike, making sure that a lot of members of Gladiators Legion were below half health near the tail end of that fight. And just to put it into perspective and how impressive XL2 Academy has been so far on their offensive pushes, they haven't had anything more than a minute to take these 6 points in the last 2 attacks. So they were able to take 4 points in 2 minutes. That's absolutely insane if you're XL2 Academy. Now, Gladiators Legion, who's been slower in terms of the offense, at least in these extra innings, will have 1 minute and 43 seconds, what looked like an easy take for Gladiators Legion, because remember, they had 5 minutes on the clock before their last push. They're already down to 1 minute and 43, and since XL2 Academy were able to get all 6, 1 minute 43 might not be enough.
Might not be enough. It probably will just come down to the fact of seconds. Early peek from KSP. You're not going to find anything. So flanking routes galore. We're going to have a taste of them here. Emil still on this Roadhog. Dalton on the Hanzo. Is he just going to be using that Orisa shield, pushing with the rest of the team? Or is he going to take that risk, try and snipe out KSP, take that high ground for his own?
They got rid of that shield very quickly, as Gladiators Legion are going to be able to take a little bit more space, approach the objective, and aggress with a halt and hooks. If Emil gets a hook onto anyone from XL2 Academy, that person will perish. Gladiators Legion now down to a minute remaining. They're playing this a little bit slower. They have a little bit of time to try to get to those ultimates. Emil's going to get stunned. Rolf gets that initial pick. Butts will fall as well. Gladiators Legion doing exactly what XL2 Academy were able to do on their push, which is get an easy point A. The Gladiators Legion aren't going to have that much to try to snowball into point B outside of this amplification matrix, as XL2 Academy will put all of their eggs in point B.
Slow and steady wins the race. Gladiators Legion just pushing as one. Water went on a little bit of a flank just to see what he could get, but it was all up to Dalton staying behind that Orisa shield and helping shred the shield of Gig and open up those kinds of opportunities for Rolf to headshot Gig. You can argue that the Hanzo could be better off, you know, kind of on his own, doing his own thing, but oftentimes people forget the shield shredding power of that Stormbow. Remember, this is still when Hanzo has 6 shots in his quiver.
Gladiators Legion now will be approaching on their second attack with only 43 seconds left. This will be the only opportunity that Legion have, and they already get a casualty. XL2 Academy are able to find Water, who is a little bit too aggressive, so close to that Blizzard as well. Gladiators Legion now will have a Transcendence. Unfortunately for them, there's one on the other side, so XL2 Academy will be able to rebuff what Legion brings to the table, even if they Dragon Strike. This Dragon Strike actually needs to be pretty big, because it's going to be able to isolate and separate members of XL2 Academy to start this push. There's 15 seconds left. 15
seconds left, and that's going to be just enough time for Supercharger and Whole Hog to come on as well. XL2 Academy probably about to take a whole bunch of damage straight now.
Dragon Strike does separate XL2 Academy, but immediately finds the pick first. Transcendence comes from XL2 to start things off. Gladiators Legion are going to be able to hold on to theirs. The second Transcendence will find a little bit more value. Emil's Whole Hog only going to get a little bit of wall, and then it's going to get frozen up, and then the Dragon Strike's going to take him down, as KFC once again finding the pick for XL2 Academy. This is all she wrote for Gladiators Legion here on Volskaya. XL2 Academy showing up on Volskaya Industries. Remember, folks, just 1 minute for their last 2 pushes, and they're able to take points A and B both times, as Gladiators Legion, their defense looking like paper right now.
Yeah, getting shredded right now. Gladiators Legion just not able to sync up the ultimates that they needed. And part of that was just like, their time bank. They needed more time to get Supercharger up to boost Whole Hog, right? Get Supercharger up to boost Dragon Strike, but those timings just weren't coming because they had so little time to aggress onto the point. Same, of course, could be said for XL2, but they were finding so many vanilla kills that they didn't really need these ultimates to come in. And in the next patch, when we do have ultimates taking a hit in terms of time to generate, that's going to be an even more important factor. We're going to have to see heroes that really pop off in the mid fight and not rely solely on their ultimates.
Yeah, that the reason why we mentioned it is because that ultimate change will be in the Gauntlet. And so we got to start thinking about the possibilities when it comes to our teams and our representatives. And this just goes to show how important cooldowns, positioning, and line of sight is in this meta right now. We talk about this meta as being incredibly macro and cooldown dependent. Sounds a little bit like goats if I say so myself, but this is a 1-to-1 match between these two teams so far. And right now I'm liking what I see. But first we got to take a little bit of a break. And when we come back, we'll see the conclusion of Gladiators Legion XL2 Academy.